Hey everyone, welcome back to another ASOTU Edge webinar. Today we are joined by Connected Dealer Services. We're going to be talking about driving loyalty with data, how connected vehicle tech powers the service lane. We're going to be joined by Shane Wilson, President and CEO, and Levi Baade, who is the Vice President of Product Management, again with Connected Dealer Services. Take it away, Paul and Kyle.
Paul, here's the thing. You know that I am obsessed with
soccer.
Yes. Okay, fine.
With coffee.
And we'll get, yes. Okay.
Yeah, okay. With
but
data.
In the automotive industry, I'm obsessed with the flip of who owns retention. Mm-hmm. And we have, for so long in our industry, left retention up to the customer, up to the client. And that's a failing proposition because nobody wakes up on a Saturday morning going, man, I really am excited about going to get my oil changed today.
Or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
or
Thursday,
any
Friday.
day of the week.
True.
And owning retention has to be put back in the place where it's most important, which is the dealership.
Absolutely.
Right. So I love what we get to talk about today.
Yeah. You know, there's this element of being top of mind, like approaching it even from a marketing, merchandising standpoint. And with all of the barrage of marketing and all of the conquesting that happens on even basic service, right? When you're thinking tires, batteries, things like that, everywhere as a part of a customer's daily life, right? I'm in Costco, I'm driving by Jiffy Lube and all those things. A way to stay top of mind is always tough, right? Unless you're spending a ton of marketing dollars. And today's solution kind of flips the script on that a little bit. So I'm really excited to talk about it from that angle as well. So why don't we welcome Shane and Levi in, and so we can flip this around a little bit and maybe even get a little look at the product if we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Bring it to the stage. Hey, Shane, Levi, welcome to today's webinar, Driving Loyalty with Data. We're glad you're here, gents.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having us. We're super excited.
Yeah, all right. So first of all, I want you to give us a little bit of background on you and Connected Dealer Services and what you're doing in the market right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks. So Shane Wilson, President of CDS, Connected Dealer Services, and basically we are a connected car platform and an enterprise tool for our dealerships. We start at lot management and allow them to manage their inventory with GPS and location-based services. We protect their inventory from theft, and then we help them with sales efficiencies. You know, how much fuel's in the vehicle? Is the battery charged? You want to ensure that customer experience. You don't want to walk a consumer out to a vehicle and have a dead battery, right? So right. We solve all of that for the dealer, but then we have multiple layers to that. So we also have a profitability standpoint where we have an F&I product that they sell in F&I and make a lot of profit. It's a stolen vehicle recovery system. It's a reinsurable product. It's a non-cancelable hard ad product, so very profitable. But then we tie into our service retention and our data collection and really what we're going to talk about today. And I'm just really excited about that because if you think about the real-time data and what we can bring to the table for our dealerships, whether it be the real odometer or just real-time stats on a vehicle health perspective, it's a game changer. And so I've invited Levi with me to join me, and we're going to walk you guys through kind of the journey of what we call CarRx, which is our brand, and we're just super excited to present that to you guys.
Levi, why don't you give us just a quick 30, 60 second background of your journey in the auto industry?
Yeah. So I got involved in the automotive industry in 2008 with a startup called Drive OK. We were doing, it was kind of the early days of telematics getting involved and mostly on the subprime lender side of things. Since then, I've had a stint at Dealer Socket where I was product manager over the CRM product there. I took a bit of a hiatus from the automotive space, and I got involved in kind of.
I'm waiting to hear it.
Retail.
Yeah,
commerce and retail, because whenever someone leaves, I love the story of when they come back. So commerce and retail.
Got into commerce and retail for kind of like very large companies, so multinational conglomerates. Realized pretty quickly that wasn't quite for me, and then I got invited
nearly as much fun.
Yes. Sorry?
I said, or nearly as much fun.
Yeah, exactly. Not nearly as much fun. So I got invited by the founders of CDS to come back and go on this journey with them. And I've been on the team now for 2.5 years. I'm loving it. We're having a blast, and so it's kind of my second stint in the industry, and a lot has changed. So that's also a very interesting point that I've taken away coming back after about 7 to 8 years away.
Oh man,
yeah. Shane, obviously today we're talking a lot about loyalty, and you're talking to dealers, talking to your clients, talking to possible new customers a lot right now about what challenges they're facing when it comes to people being loyal to their company, to continuing doing service with them, to understanding what services they offer. What are the things that dealers are telling you right now are the hardest things to overcome when it comes to the consumer culture?
I think, the first and foremost, service in general is down at the dealer. We've seen a drop several points this year, just year over year. So, we want to try to continue to help them and build that loyalty up, continue to retain their consumers. You have the OEs trying to retain them. You have outside third party sources trying to retain them. So, we want to be that tool that helps them keep them, right. And keep that customer base. They have, such a good relationship with them in the beginning. Why not keep them? There's so many stats. I think it's 78% of consumers that go back to a dealer for service are more likely to buy your next vehicle at the dealership. So, the stats are astounding. So if we can solve that problem for them, and just help them drive more revenue to their bay, that's a win for us. So our goal is to just guarantee 1 or 2, 3 extra service appointments from that sale. After the sale of the vehicle.
Talk about for a second. I think when people think of solving problems or considering solutions, I think it's really important to double down on what the pain points that you're seeing, because everyone's got a variety of different ones. There's some that are shared and then some that are unique. So, maybe Levi, you can dive into some of the pain points that are kind of like the inciting point for developing a product or making it better or adding some nuance to it. Maybe go list them out so we can throw those around.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's really dependent on what perspective you're looking from. So if you're looking from the dealer perspective, I think traditionally we've had a challenge in knowing when service is due. So even if you look at the modern vehicle, it's a connected car for the most part. The OEM may have an idea of any trouble codes that are happening on the car. They know the odometer. But what I'm seeing in my shoes as a new vehicle owner myself is I'm getting hit up from the dealer saying it's time for service when I've got 3,000 or 4,000 miles left to go. So clearly that disconnect from the OE back to the dealer is very real, even in today's, let's say heavy connected vehicle environment that we're in. So that's one of the pain points, is how do the dealers know when service has to happen? Dealers, for the most part, really are extremely customer focused, want to provide them with the best service possible. So it's not like they're intentionally sending them a notification that they need to get their service done when it's actually due in 3,000 or 4,000 miles. It's just they don't know. Yep. So that traditionally for the dealer has been a challenge.
There's nothing worse than getting that notification, honestly, in an industry where we're already trying to push back against the stigma of distrust or, trying to take advantage. And, a notice comes in, like you said, several thousand miles before your oil change is due. And
the first, just trying to get my money.
That's it. The first thought that's all it can be. It can't really, no one's thinking you know what? Their data is they're doing the best they can. No one says no one ever when they see that car. I'm sure they're trying real hard, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think from the consumer point of view, you guys harped on it a couple times at this point. Trust is a big factor. I think in the industry in general, trust is underpinning every relationship. I think not even just this industry, every industry, trust is a big underpinning of any relationship that you build. And what we strive to do for the consumer is to give them the most enjoyable experience when it comes to owning their vehicle, especially in terms of the things that aren't as fun to do, like servicing your car. You said, who wants to go get their car serviced on a Saturday when they could be going to the beach, right? So we try to make sure that they know what services they have coming up. If they have a dash light come on, is that a big deal? Like, we try to make sure that they have some kind of reference and understand the consequences if they were to keep driving with that check engine light, with the intention of always sending them back to the dealer to get service. So that's where that loyalty play comes in, is we have to establish trust so that we can build upon it and create that loyal relationship.
That's such an interesting thing, because you look at, like, even I think Advanced Auto Parts or some of these like parts stores are advertising, hey, look, when the check engine light, when the light comes on, just come to us. We'll let you know what you got going on, right? Yeah. And that's one thing I hadn't thought about, because it's not just, the times where you have to get service that a dealer should be important. It's the fact that, if a light comes on in my wife's van, like, things grind to a stop because of fear. Yeah. And maybe nothing's wrong, but there's this, like,
you're driving kids
mechanism
around in the van, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Great point. So that, I love that, like, establishing trust isn't just about when I ask for your dollars, but it's when you may have the highest level of fear around the thing that gets you everywhere you need to go. And that's a totally different value proposition to a customer or a client of a dealership than just like, oh, they can do tires too, right?
Yeah. Right. Shane, when we were on a podcast a couple weeks ago, talking about the battery situation as being like a very clear and present, like, no matter how, like, old your car is, like, everyone has dealt with a battery issue at one point or another. So dive into that angle of it. Like, we're going to try to unpack all the little pieces of this under this umbrella of, which I didn't expect, but like this trust building mechanism.
It is a trust building mechanism. And if you think about, before we go there, just the real time acknowledgement too. So, I mean, as soon as any of these events happen that we just talked about, the dealer's notified immediately. So they have the ability to contact the customer, soft touch of, hey, we just saw an event with your vehicle, whether it be a dead battery or whatever it may be, a check engine light. So you get that relationship building back to the consumer as well. And then the consumer is obviously notified. But, if you think about some of the things we talked about at Paul, the last podcast we had, when you have a dead battery or any of these wearables, tires, you never think about going to a dealer to get your new tires. You go to, a Bell tire or a discount tire, that type of thing. So a lot of the wearable items are things that you really don't think or associate as a consumer. At least I certainly don't, to go back to the dealer for. So, batteries are, like we mentioned, one of the highest service calls is a battery. So how do you start driving those other ancillary items that the dealer really doesn't have an opportunity for today back to them? And again, it ties back to that trust, ties back to that loyalty. Now I have a partner in my vehicle journey, right? And so that's really important.
Man, I'm still just, I think we talked about it on the podcast. I'm still just imagining someone's battery dying and like them getting a notification that their dealer's on the way to replace it or jump it. Like, that would just be that would blow my mind as a customer, right? Yeah.
Right, because all these disjointed surface, right? Most vehicles leave with some kind of roadside assistance. And there's all of these things that are integrated. Imagine connecting those through the understanding and the knowledge of what's happening real time. For a dealership just getting started with this type of tech, right? How do you advise them? Someone who maybe has been on the fence, on the bubble. It's like, I've seen it, I've heard about it. It seems maybe complicated. Like, walk that person that's right on the bubble through. How do you like explain it to them? How do you explain what the first steps are so that they can kind of like, baby step it?
That is a great question. When a dealer's on the bubble about whether or not CarRx is right for them, I try to paint the entire picture. So it's not just about one department getting benefit or the end customer getting some value out of it. It really starts with, think of it from a lot management point of view. We keep track of every vehicle on the lot. We know where it's at. The salesperson can easily find it. But on top of that, we provide all the analytics back to the porters and those that are managing things like, battery charging and fuel top offs and things like this. So if you have a customer that's very interested in a car, goes out to start it, the chances are that it's going to start because we've helped them maintain that vehicle on the lot, not just one vehicle, but all of them. So it starts there. If you move over into the F&I department, we've got some dealers that are averaging about a $1,200, let's say, gross profit on our product, and they have a penetration rate of about 90%. So when you start looking at that, it gets very compelling. So they start looking at it like, okay, so you're telling me we put a little effort in up front, it immediately starts bringing some value in the lot management, and then we sell it and we make some profit off of it. So it becomes a better story. And where we've taken it since our inception is now we are keeping track of that vehicle as it's in the consumer's hands. So as they're driving along, we're capturing real-time odometer. We know anytime a DTC gets fired on. We're comparing their drive distance or their odometer that's been over time to their OEM or dealer maintenance schedule. So we've got campaigns that are going out. They're not just targeting a random point in time. They are personalized to that vehicle, to that driver. And we see incredible conversion rates on them compared to a typical campaign that might tell you you're due for service 3,000 miles before or after you really are. So that's usually how I approach someone who's on the bubble, and we find that's it's a pretty compelling story when it's fully combined.
All right, I have some follow-up questions. What does install look like? Like, let's get all that. Yeah,
that's a pretty simple process actually. So we connect into the OBD2 interface of the vehicle. So it is really like a plug-and-play type design. We have a Y cable assembly, which basically means we're kind of like replacing the OE OBD2 port that you do all the diagnostics from, so that our device can kind of be, let's say, tucked up behind into the dash area. The average install is only, depending on how quick you are as an installer, how much experience you have, could be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, so not a super heavy lift.
Yeah, dealers are typically getting 2 to 3 tenths of labor on our product once they're fully trained.
Yep. Okay, and next question, and now this is my consumer hat is on, and probably an objection that an F&I manager might reach. It's like, hey, I think this car I'm buying already has an app that tells me things like oil life, et cetera. Like, why is this different?
Yeah, it's a great question. And obviously we get it often, right? So, first off, the big benefit typically is the limited warranty that's tied to it, right? So you have dealers usually typically offer a $10,000 theft benefit, a reinsurable product, but that's a guaranteed kind of policy for a stolen vehicle recovery product. So they have that benefit. But then they also there's much more that we do from a location standpoint, whether it be for team tracking and geofencing, the geofencing speed alerts, that all of those kind of location-based things. Yep. Those are all very enhanced compared to what the OEs are doing today.
Yes.
And then you have that. So you have the retention, you have the loyalty that the dealer brings, the consumer brings to the tie to the dealer. So there's definitely certain benefits that we outpace to that consumer, right?
Yeah, and not every car has an app, but I'm just like,
right. But it's also, you usually only get, you're getting 3 months free, 5 months free, and then you're paying $40, $50 a month. Typically.
I was so mad when my Kia app wanted to charge me for services. I don't have it anymore. I didn't get another Kia. Kia, if you're listening.
Yeah. This is rolled into your loan. It's typically, depending on the dealer, it's a very low cost product. And you're not really, it's not that monthly reoccurring $40 fee that you see every month. So, and then of course you got all of the power of the dealer, right? And what we offer for the dealer.
Yeah. For sure.
Levi, I think you've got it pulled up. We wanted to take a look at.
Yeah, I want to see
what does it look like from a consumer perspective? You've actually got a car that you've just recently purchased that is in your own.
I have
app.
so many questions about the camper.
Yeah. This is, I mean, it definitely looks a little bit, let's say, battered at this point, but that's because it's our camp mobile. But yeah, this is my truck. You can see from a consumer perspective, it's pretty simple. I can add my own picture if I want to customize things. I know my fuel level, my battery. So a lot of the things that the OEs can provide you as well in their app. I know when my next service is due. And the difference here is I should say the OE app typically has this, but everything you're seeing here, this is also shared with the dealer. There are privacy agreements that are in place. So if the consumer says, I don't want to do that, we respect that. But by and large, the dealer gets access to all this information. They get to see when the next service is due, what services need to be performed. We are constantly scanning. So every time you drive your car, we check, are there any diagnostic trouble codes that have come through? We know the odometer updates. We're constantly scanning for recalls that have come across for your vehicle. And then if anything happens to come up, you can just schedule an appointment right here. This is a fake little dealership that I've got in my test account, but I can take a look where it's located. I can look at it on the map. I can call. But if I just select into it, I can choose the services. These are customizable, so I can choose. I want to do a car detail, maybe, clean it up a bit. But I've also got a check engine light I want them to take a look at, and maybe I want them to perform the recall that I've found. So I just click through.
Wow, this is so easy.
Yeah, we are connected for the most part to our dealers' scheduling tools. So we know your real-time availability of your service drive. You can select the date. You can select the time that works for you. You can, boom, request that appointment or schedule it immediately from there, and we'll notify you throughout the process and remind you when it's time for your appointment to come up. So it is stupid simple, which is the kind of what we're trying to make it be. We want to be as
there's your new tagline. Stupid simple.
Yeah.
Shane,
CarRx, stupid simple.
Shane, so like we were just talking about the integrations. Can you how do you integrate something like this without interrupting the service workflows and things like that? How does this merge into those? Because whenever adopting a new tech or a new thing,
especially when it comes to like the notifications, right? I got 100,000 vehicles on the road. Let's say I've had this for a few years. I've installed it everywhere. I've got even 10,000 vehicles on the road. Like even keeping up with all of that from a dealer perspective, what are people doing?
It really depends on the dealer and how the size of the dealer and then how they're structured. So we have some dealers that they just want the data. They just want to send us the data. We'll ingest it into our CRM systems and just make it part of our channel, as we talked about our last meeting. Some of our dealers will use our whole platform. We have a whole thing. We don't have time to go through it today, but there's a whole marketing platform that they can use where we really starting to become the CRM for that dealer. Obviously, those are some smaller dealerships that may not necessarily have the tools of some of the bigger groups that we have. And then there's that middle ground, right, where we have API integrations into applications like Xtime and some of the other CRMs. We just finished our Techion integration here just a while ago. We can continuing to do that, and then we just become part of the ecosystem, right? Like we want to be completely part of that ecosystem. So we're not just a one-off, where it causes more friction, right? Our goal is to remove all that friction and just give them the data and the method that they're looking for.
So all of this kind of culminates into the question that I think a lot of dealers are always trying to answer, which is, what is the impact of these types of services and these types of changes on things like CSI and retention? You have some success stories or generalizations of data that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Levi.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really what I'm very into the data and understanding the impact that we're creating for our customers. So what we've seen for the most part is once this goes live, the share or let's say the percent of appointments that get booked through this platform. And do keep in mind, this is it is an F&I product. So not every consumer is going to have access to this. That's what we are seeing is some dealers are at a point where this has been so wildly successful.
Yeah.
They are wanting to pay for a year up front because they're so convinced that we're going to get them in for service.
Right.
So I would say that is the biggest success that we're seeing right now is dealers are seeing the value, comparing the rate at which we are. So I always look at this as
it's like everyone starts like sell it through F&I. All those people start coming back and they're like, you know what? We should do this for everyone.
Exactly.
Exactly. Why are we not doing this for everyone? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Pay, $100 and I got a couple, 2 more service appointments for the year per vehicle. So I think number one, that's our customers telling us this is working for them. But the rate at which we're able to get the consumer to come back per service opportunity that the dealer has. So that means every time a service opportunity comes up on a vehicle, that's really our North Star metric. We're trying to get the vehicles back time after time when a service opportunity presents itself. And we're seeing amazing results with the dealers that are using this and really bought into the program.
So like when a notification happens, when an issue in a car in the app happens, how many times am I getting that customer back? Like what's the percentage of take rate on the issue essentially is what you're after. Is that right?
That's what we're after. And I can't share that here. It's a bit proprietary, but it is much higher than an average CRM appointment, or let's say an average CRM campaign. Much higher.
Yeah, and we're seeing. I'll throw a stat out there that we're seeing when we start a dealer, when we launch with a dealer, like Levi had mentioned earlier, it takes 2 to 3 months to get enough volume and to get enough consumers out there to really make it impactful. But we're seeing like 20 to 30% growth month over month with appointment scheduling and integration. Once you see that, so you kind of see this like trend line, and then after a few months, you start seeing, and it becomes really, really successful on the appointment scheduling side. So.
Cool. What are you saying? So, okay, last words. I'm going to give both of you a chance for this one. Okay, so everyone gets and Shane, we'll let you wrap it. We'll go to Levi first. Okay. What are you saying? And he's going to probably take all the good answers, but what are you saying right now to a dealer who is not, or just thinking about this area of retention? How are you making a case for them that they should take a step in connecting the data with their service department and the customer experience? How are you what broad level value props are you giving them that you're seeing?
Yeah, so one of the biggest indicators for success here is not if your customer is only servicing with you. It's what's the total customer lifetime value impact that creates. Mm-hmm. So Come on
now. Right? He went and got me sideways. We're going to have another half an hour on this.
Kyle's got that phrase in a little frame by his bedside.
Yeah. So this is a wild stat. And this is not something that we made up. This came from a reputable source. It's a play off of a stat from Cox Automotive, which is that if you have a customer that regularly services their vehicle at your dealership, they are 86 times more likely to buy their next vehicle from you.
Mm-hmm. What?
That's not 86% more. That's 8,000 or
8,000. It's astronomical how much more likely they are to purchase a vehicle from you. So I think if we're able to create, again, that baseline of trust and having that trust turn into, let's say, morsels of value for the dealer and the consumer through service appointments and making sure they feel safe and protected on the road, that will lead into the next vehicle that they're going to purchase. You're probably going to get a trade-in out of it. You're probably going to get a new vehicle sale out of it.
I don't know, Shane, did he leave you anything to talk about?
Yeah, it was good, right? That was a good one. I don't know if I can take a step on that one, but I will say two things. One is, why as a dealer, and I'm thinking about who owns the customer. Why would you not want to be part of that game and just give that to the OE? Why would you want to not have the ability to be able to get that data and be able to have that direct connection to the consumer and not own that customer, right? The second is used vehicles, right? We all know all these franchises are 50% used. those typically don't come back for service, and those just go. And so that's a whole nother revenue model that their profit center that the dealer is not necessarily taking, appreciating, right? So we need to be able to give that back to them too, and that's where it's really been resonating. So definitely not as great as Levi's answer, but
that's great.
It's something that I think is
another
really
angle.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big. It's a big deal. I love that you ended with the used call, because that's 50% of your business. That 70% of the time probably doesn't stay with you. So big deal. Hey, Levi, Shane, you guys have been amazing today. I, again, am obsessed with this mentality and glad that you all are solving the problem. And I hope dealers are able to connect with what you're doing. And thanks for just giving us some insight into the trust that we need to gain with our customers. And so thank you so much for joining us on this Edge webinar.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, y'all. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us today. We hope you learned something. If you want to watch this again or share it with a friend, go ahead and head on over to our website, ASOTU.com, drop down to media and go to webinars. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.